All right, going to get into the Falcons defense week one, in particular the linebacking core and how I thought they played a pretty fun game. You're going to be seeing Troy Anderson here on a blitz with Ellis rotating over to fill the vacated zone. You got Judon dropping back. Later in the game, they end up dropping back Ebiketie a lot. This is pretty common across the NFL, using your edges in the zone defense to send linebackers. I think Troy Anderson does a good job as a blitzer this game. I think Ellis is, traditionally a good blitzer. And then coverage-wise, for this play, we're playing cover three. So we got three deep zone defenders. You've got two people kind of playing anything that attacks his vacated zone. And then what you're going to see here is Ellis rotating over to fill Troy's area, and then Judon dropping back to play where Ellis is. And then you have Troy Anderson, obviously, coming on the blitz. So this is what we're looking at coverage-wise, mirrored with our pressure package. Always important. Everything you do up front is going to be mirrored on the back end. We'll run that again. I want to focus on Troy. I think he does a good job kind of waiting for the snap. He lines up kind of on top of Grady, which, what does this do? The offensive linemen don't know for sure if he's going inside or he's going out. He ends up going kind of shooting the guard's gap. Guard does a good job picking him up overall. I don't think that's anything on Troy. I think he does a good job kind of getting some pushback into Fields' face. You're not always going to get pressure. You're not always going to get a sack. What matters is, are you setting yourself up in a position of success for your players? And I think they do that here. So it's a good catch, kind of juggling. He does a good job. But overall, this is a win, I'd say, for the defense. You're getting 3 yards. We like that. All right, got another one here. Once again, focus on the linebackers. We have them up here presenting the pressure front. Well, we're going to bail out of it. Justin Fields is going to be able to get outside of the pocket, get upfield, make a good run with his legs. I think later on, we did a better job keeping him in the pocket, keeping spies in better position to prevent this sort of action where he's getting outside the pocket, able to rush upfield vertically. But this presentation we do here, we go back to the well in the red zone on a critical third down, and we're able to take away a big curl by dropping Ellis out like he does here. So I think overall there's nothing wrong with this one. Sometimes just get got. And Fields, he's an incredible athlete in space. He's able to get outside of the pocket. He's going to get you. So coverage-wise, what are we looking at? We've got a cloud corner, half-field safety. You have a quarter safety. So we'll get into what he's doing. Let's go ahead and draw what the corner is doing. He's pretty much man up here playing this quarter. And then you're going to have Anderson dropping back and Ellis kind of flaring out here to cover any crossing routes. And then this player as well is dropping back. So this is kind of what we're doing coverage-wise. What we can see here is Steelers, they got 3 receivers on one side. So that enables this safety to kind of make a call that he's going to be hunting for any deep crossers. So, for example, if this player right here were to come across, right across his face, he's hunting this up. He's trying to jump this and get a pick. So that's kind of the bread and butter of the coverage. Cover 6, quarter, half coverage, however you want to word it. What's interesting about it is how they get to it. With this presentation, like I say, they go back to the well later in the game. So right here, it's covered up really well. We just, we let Fields get out of the pocket too easily, and he has this big rushing lane. And then you're one-on-one in space. There's no shot here, but forcing him back inside to get the tackle for a loss. So defensively, we do a better job later on spying him, keeping him in the pocket, keeping the integrity of the rushing lanes. But right here, he gets us early on in this one, which is good for him. Sometimes you're going to get got. But defensively, I like the call. I like what we do. I like that we successfully take away his passing options. We just got to do a better job with this guy in space. There's no two ways about it. That's where he's most dangerous. All right, going to be looking at the big Grady Jarrett sack and how we're able to buy an extra second for him to work, lay into this down, hit the swim move, get a big sack, first sack of the year for the Falcons. No one better to have it than Grady Jarrett. And really this is all predicated on what we do with Caden Ellis here, out of the 5-man front, presenting pressure, bail out of it, occupy a throwing window, force Justin Fields to get through some reads, and another second he has to hold on the ball versus an easy throw. So for this play, defensively it plays out like man coverage essentially, but what I want to focus on is what the Steelers are trying to do so we can understand, why this is such a good play, dropping back into the zone. So you're going to have Caden Ellis here, dropping back right here. The Steelers are trying to run a fade, which what is this going to do? This is going to pull AJ because either, regardless of this is quarters, man coverage, doesn't really matter. He's going to be responsible for this outside vertical. And what they're trying to do is hit a quick hitch. If they can throw it here, they're hoping that this safety is responsible for this route. And you throw a quick hitter, you have a one-on-one in space. If you break one tackle, it's a big play. However, like I'm talking about, we drop Caden Ellis back into this zone. And because we do that, the throw's not there, and it forces Justin Fields to get through some reads, to have to spend more time in the pocket, and it gives Grady Jarrett the time to win late in the down. So here's Caden Ellis occupying the throwing window. Here's Justin Fields getting through his reads. He wants to throw this, but at this point, he sees Grady Jarrett winning with the swim move. He also potentially was trying to get outside and get a big run, because he sees this guy running. Tight end can maybe block up him, and you have a big one-on-one with the safety. But Grady Jarrett wins, and, that's the value of taking away the quick throw. Because if we don't drop Caden Ellis here, they're throwing this hitch, and it's a one-on-one with our safety making a tackle, and that's going to decide if we get this big sack or if they get a first down. So big play, like what we're doing defensively coverage-wise, varying our fronts, not being predictable with how we're going to play out our coverages. All right, we got a fun one here. Falcons are running a 5-man pressure with 3 over, 3 under defense on the back end. I think Simmons does a really good job driving down on this ball, getting the pass breakup. Concept-wise, this coverage is always very intensive on the seam flat players. They have a lot of responsibility. Essentially, it plays out like cover 3 with the outside corners and the safety, and we'll draw it up so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So, right here, we will go ahead and draw up the outside corners first. So like I was saying, plays out pretty much just like cover 3. Nothing too crazy here, but these seam flat players just have a lot of responsibility, man. It's very important. Technique-wise, we're going to get to see an example where this player's coming up, and he's running a bit of an out, and you'll get to see the corner here match him outside. So match him outside basically means keep depth and kind of keep this angle so no matter what he does, he's not getting a big play, you're getting the tackle. And then on this side, you're going to see them kind of just run a little bit of a spacing play. They're going to have him coming up, running a hitch, and then he's also kind of just like flaring out. Really the design's to go here and kind of get the quick hitter. But again, our seam flat player does a great job. His responsibility, like I was saying out here, he's going to match him outside and carry him vertically. Since he stops, he's driving on the ball. He does a great job getting in there. And then you're also going to see Ebiketie here drop out to this middle of the field, and he's matching the running back. So all across the board, good coverage. And then up front, I don't think the pressure gets there how we want it to. Part of that's because they're not really set at the snap. We got to be quicker getting to our spots, lining up so we can make plays as a pass rusher. But doesn't matter. We have great coverage on the back end. We get the pass breakup. We get a critical third down stop. It's a huge play. And it's a fun one. I love seeing these sort of blitz packages and this coverage. And we have 2 good safeties to run stuff like this. We don't have to worry too much about the one-on-one coverage. All right, we get a similar look, ran slightly different compared to one of those plays we started with where Justin Fields was able to get out of the pocket, get downfield with his legs, and convert the first down. So defensively, what do we do different this time? Lorenzo, I think, plays this way more patiently. He's kind of making sure Fields can't get backside on a big run. We also have our linebackers, getting some depth, taking away this big curl. I think they do such a good job. Caden Ellis is really the one who occupies the window. They fake the rush, and then they bail out of it late. So, it gives us kind of a one-on-one opportunity with Judon as well because the guard is occupied expecting the rush just because of the initial release. But we'll talk about coverage-wise how this really plays out. Kind of just plays out like cover 3, but these 2 players are the big ones. And Caden Ellis gets a lot of depth here and is able to occupy this kind of big curl window where they're trying to hit between the zones. And then, Troy's kind of going there. And then, again, Lorenzo, I think, slow plays this rush because he wants to make sure Fields can't get outside. That or he's responsible for the running back. One of the 2, probably a little bit of both. So, great play. Going back to the well again, we ran something similar to this earlier in the play. Didn't work out. Works out here. Again, this is where I was talking about. Since we present the rush with the linebackers, it occupies the guard. Let me rewind that a little bit, see if I can go a little bit faster. So since we present the rush with the guards, it gives us a one-on-one outside briefly. We don't take advantage of it, but in the future, we might. So, it's a good process, and this is where I was talking about. They're trying to hit this big curl up here. Ellis is in the throwing window, so Fields has to come off it. But this is where he wants to go. He wants to hit this big hole shot between all the defenders, but Ellis has good depth. There's no opening. We have this locked up. We force the check down on the critical third down, and we get the stop in the red zone. So great play. Goes back to how we're using our linebackers, right? Presenting the pressure, bailing out of it, occupying these throwing windows, using that to give us one-on-ones on the outside with the defensive line. And overall, I thought, this was a great example of going back to the well defensively and not just because a play didn't work doesn't mean it's bad. And I think they do a good job here capitalizing on what they wanted to do. All right, one final one here. Once again, we're going to see the Falcons defense presenting this heavy pressure look. Caden Ellis and Troy Anderson, once again, essential to these pass rushing downs. You're going to see them kind of get the guard in a tough spot where he's not sure which one is coming. He picks the wrong one. Caden Bell's out of it. He hits the rollout technique, looking for that inside slant. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Troy does a good job occupying the running back, forcing Justin left, and then Judon is able to clean it up along with a big hit from Grady. So let's go ahead and look at this coverage-wise. On the back end, we will be just playing cover 3, nothing crazy there, right? We're all used to cover 3 at this point. And then you're going to see Ellis here start his rush before bailing out. Now, we're going to talk briefly concept-wise. This guy just runs a hitch because he sees all the space from the safety. He's like, I'm going to occupy this window. I'm just going to take a quick hitter, try to get upfield. Now, if he were to see all this middle of the field space and decide, you know what, I don't want to run a hitch, we'll convert this into like a slant, and we're gonna run to the open field. What we're doing with Caden Ellis is allowing us, as he comes out of here, he's hunting for this player. And if he sees this player coming inside, he's going to peel off and try to occupy this inside window, which allows our safety to kind of keep this over-the-top leverage and play it as he needs to. So good technique, traditional technique, nothing new there. We're not reinventing the wheel defensively, but I thought it was notable that, we use the linebackers so much consistently on these passing downs, and I thought they did a good job taking advantage of their responsibilities. So, again, Troy does the bulk of the work here, getting in Justin's face, forcing this outside left rollout where Judon's able to clean him up. And it goes back to, I think the linebackers had a pretty solid game overall, did a lot of good stuff. I'm encouraged by their play. I think they were one of the better defensive groups on a day that, I'm not going to say we were great, but I think we were a little bit above average. I'd maybe do like a C+, a low B, that sort of grading. And if we can keep carrying that forward, we're going to need that to win some games.